The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. The Attorney General defends FTX handling in a national address. And U.S. senators are now calling for the U.S. Department of Justice action on FTX. Later on the show, we'll be listening to that address made by the Attorney General last night. It was very interesting. That's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Chester Robard, still filling in for Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's there. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Monday, November 28th. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm filling in for Dwight Strachan. In a moment, you will be joining me. Everyone's still on vacation. Also this morning, again, we'll be listening to the Attorney General's address. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while you were sleeping and the top national and international headlines this morning.
Wake up, wake up.
And in the overnight, as he defended the Bahamas' response in the wake of the collapse of crypto giant FTX, Attorney General Ryan Pinder asserted last night that any attempt to lay the blame of the company's fall at the feet of the Bahamas is an oversimplification of reality. In a televised national address on FTX's failure, Pinder said the Bahamas is a country of laws and that those who believe its reluctance to communicate the details of investigation into FTX means nothing is happening are deeply misguided. And United States Senators Elizabeth Warren and Sheldon Whitehouse are calling on the U.S. Department of Justice to hold the executives of Bahamas-headquartered FTX accountable, quote, to the fullest extent of the law following the company's collapse. They said, quote, we write to express deep concern over the disturbing allegations of fraud and illicit behavior that led to the collapse of cryptocurrency firm FTX Trading Limited, and to urge to the Department of Justice to hold the company's executives accountable to the fullest extent of the law. The senators wrote in a letter to Merrick Garland, the U.S. Attorney General, and Kenneth Polite Jr., the Assistant Attorney General. An American woman died at an Exuma resort, an 87-year-old woman who was a guest at Grand Isle Resort and Residences in Farmers Hill, Exuma, died shortly after midnight on Friday. While her cause of death has not yet been determined, the resort issued a statement on Friday shortly after learning of the incident. They said, quote, we at Grand Isle Resort and Residences in Exuma were deeply saddened to learn that early this morning, the lifeless body of a guest was found in the shower of one of our condo hotel residences. Until authorities have determined what led to the tragic accident, we cannot comment further except to say that on behalf of all the staff and others at the resort who have heard of the incident, our hearts are saddened and our thoughts and prayers go out to the family. And John Canoe tickets our prices is set to increase. Junkanoo Corporation of New Providence Chairman Dion Miller said yesterday that there will be a modest increase in Junkanoo ticket prices this year. He said tickets were $50 before the pandemic and will now be $55, including value-added tax as a result of inflation. He says there hasn't been any parades in 3.5 years, and we are attempting to increase the prize. The prize funds for the group are derived from ticket sales. In order to increase the prize, you have to get an increase in ticket sales. Miller said he expects for the Boxing Day parade to be sold out. He said, while it is usually a struggle, quote, to sell tickets for the New Year's Day parade, it is expected that the parade will also be sold out, he said. Miller said preparations for the events are moving well. And Press Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, Clint Watson, said he expects the Progressive Liberal Party to fully reimburse the government for a recent trip to Bermuda within 2 weeks. He says, quote, I do know the Prime Minister this week made a call to ensure that this happens, so I suspect that that should happen within the next week and a half to 2 weeks, Watson said on Thursday. He added, I've been made aware that the Progressive Liberal Party is fully aware and ready to make the reimbursement. They're waiting for the paperwork from Foreign Affairs to be sent to them as to the cost, and that transaction will take place. The Prime Minister and his delegation traveled aboard a Western Air charter plane to Bermuda in October. In international news, China affirms its zero COVID stance but eases rules after protests. Authorities eased antivirus rules in scattered areas but affirmed China's severe zero COVID strategy Monday after crowds demanded President Xi Jinping resign during protests against controls that confine millions of people to their homes. The government made no comment on the protests or criticism of Xi, the most widespread display of opposition to the ruling Communist Party in decades. There was no official word on how many people were detained after police used pepper spray against protesters in Shanghai and struggled to suppress demonstrations in other cities, including Beijing, the capital. The city government of Beijing announced it would no longer set up gates to block access to apartment compounds where infections are found. It made no mention of a deadly fire last week that set off the protests following angry questions online about whether firefighters or victims trying to escape were blocked by locked doors or other antivirus controls. Let's take a look at sports for this morning. And who will it be? A trio of presidential candidates hopeful ahead of the BAAA elections on Saturday. It's crunch time in the Bahamas Association of Athletic Associations as a trio of qualified candidates makes its final push to the respective clubs looking to obtain the necessary votes to be elected as president at this Saturday's election of officers. The annual general meeting and election of officers of the BAAAs is set for this Saturday at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium, and a number of candidates have stepped forth to offer their services in the various positions. For president, incumbent Dramico Archer will be challenged by immediate past president Rosamund Carey and veteran throws coach Don Johnson. Archer, who orchestrated a very detailed and comprehensive More with Miko campaign, said he's focused on more inclusion, more productivity, more communication, and ultimately more success for Bahamian track and field athletes on a global scale. And the University of Tennessee Volunteers opened their championship game of the 2022 Battle for Atlantis men's tournament on a 7-0 scoring run and never looked back. They eventually took down the national champions University of Kansas Jayhawks 64-50 to win the title on Friday night. Playing at the Imperial Arena at Atlantis in the 11th annual tournament's championship game, the number 22 ranked Vols got 20 points from Santiago Vescovi to snap the number 3 ranked Jayhawks 17-game winning streak. The senior school Vescovi, who hails from Uruguay, hit 5 three-pointers for his team in 36 minutes on the floor. Vols head coach Rick Barnes said that his players played some tough defense all tournament. And the Bahamas settles for 4th place in Santa Marta. It was not the finish the Bahamas senior men's national beach soccer team was hoping for, but it's still a major accomplishment as they placed 4th at the Central American and Caribbean Sea and Beach Games, which wrapped up on Saturday at the Beach Soccer Stadium in Santa Marta, Colombia. They fell to Mexico 7-2 in the bronze medal game. In sports overseas, Aaron Rodgers injures his ribs in the Packers' loss to the Eagles. Aaron Rodgers kept bending, wincing. The Green Bay star and reigning NFL MVP openly in pain. Rodgers was forced out by injuries and a loss to the Eagles. He's not ready to wave the white flag on the season. He said, "As long as we are mathematically alive, I'd like to be out there." Rodgers sustained rib injuries late in the third quarter to go with a broken right thumb suffered weeks ago. He was forced to leave early in another Packers loss that all but eliminated them from playoff contention. Rodgers was 11 of 16 passing for 140 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions in a 40-33 loss at Philadelphia on Sunday night. That's your look at sports and you look at the overnight. Your first look at weather is right up next. And here's your weather outlook for today. A weak frontal boundary will trek across the northwest Bahamas today, while high pressure maintains a gentle to moderate breeze over the islands. Beachgoers should be alert for possible rip currents along Atlantic exposed beaches. For the northwest Bahamas, weather partly cloudy to cloudy and warm with isolated showers and thunderstorms along the frontal boundary. Small craft should exercise caution in swells, expect gusty winds and higher seas in showers or thunderstorms. Winds southwest to west at 10 knots or less ahead of the front, becoming northwest to north at 10 knots or less after the front passes. Seas 1 to 3 feet, building to 5 feet in slight northeasterly swells. For the central and southeast Bahamas, weather partly to mostly sunny and hot with quick passing showers. Small craft should exercise caution in swells. Winds east to southeast at 10 knots or less in the central Bahamas, increasing 10 to 15 knots in the southeast Bahamas. Seas 1 to 3 feet in the central islands, building 2 to 4 feet in the southeast Bahamas, with slight swells along Atlantic exposed shores. Your daytime high temperature today, 88 degrees Fahrenheit, 31 degrees Celsius. Your overnight low temperature, 73 degrees Fahrenheit, 23 degrees Celsius. We'll have an extended forecast for you later in the show. That look at weather was brought to you by the Chick Charney Challenge, sponsored by Kalina.
Morning Blend Weather Check brought to you by the Chickcharney Challenge. The country's premier obstacle course run is back this December 3rd at Clifton Heritage Park. Run, jump, climb, and claw your way to the finish. The Chickcharney Challenge, The Return. Sign up today at chickcharneychirin.com or call 421-8915 today. The Chickcharney Challenge.
When we come back, we're discussing some of the day's top stories. That's when Morning Blend continues here on Guardian Radio 96.9, home of fresh news and smart talk all day.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem. Just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment, plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
Wherever you're headed, the Custom Computers Know-How team is standing by to help guide you in the East and the West. We now have 2 convenient locations on Patton Street in Palmdale and our newest store in the Caves Village Shopping Plaza through the Blake Road entrance. Discover the latest products by top international brands and the knowledge you need to unleash tomorrow's technology today. Drop by Custom Computers out east or out west. We're open Saturdays from 10 till 4.
The Better Network is giving you bigger savings at Alive's Black Friday sale. With select store and van locations opening as early as 6 a.m. Purchase devices as low as $29 and receive doorbuster prizes, accessories, and so much more. Don't want to wait? Alive customers can beat the Black Friday rush and shop online as early as 12 a.m. with even more deals. Friday the 25th of November, Alive's Black Friday sale. You don't want to miss it. Visit BeAlive.com for more information.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way.
Welcome back to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9, streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for your smart devices, and on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 or BTC Flow Channel 612. Guardian Radio is all over social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm Chester Robards. You will be joining me in our conversation today because everybody's on vacation. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or follow the hashtag MorningBlend. And be sure to like our Facebook page, facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Leave your comments and read what others are saying about the topics on the show. You can email us at morningblend@nascar.com, or you can text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC. Text us at 422-GR96. That's 422-4796. Standard text rates do apply. We always love to hear your voice. You can call us 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Also coming up this morning, more weather and traffic. And in business, we'll be talking about, in Morning Blend Business, we'll be talking more about what we're talking about today in this show. But first, it's time to talk about what's in the news. And last night, during a primetime address, our Attorney General, Ryan Pinder, I did a great job, I thought, of breaking down the FTX matter and just giving an overview of what happened and what's next. Both of the big dailies this morning, for the most part, carrying the same headline. It says AG defends, the Nassau Guardian says AG defends FTX handling, and the Tribune, AG defends the nation over FTX, which is what he did, even though I think he did a lot more than that, than just that. But that was an important point, given that, the Bahamas is on under a microscope over this FTX thing. I think mostly because the owner of FTX, the chief man, Sam Bankman-Fried, lives here, and everything called sensationalization over the story is based here, because Sam is based here. Alameda Research, as Ryan Pinder pointed out yesterday, which was at the center of the collapse of FTX, is not based here. It is based in the U.S. And FTX US, which is also being, under bankruptcy protection, is being wound up as well, is based in the U.S., as the name suggests. What is based here, FTX Digital Markets, is a subsidiary or sister of all of those companies, and they decided that the owners decided they would headquarter that part of the business here. So let's take a listen to our Attorney General breaking down, let's listen to some of it, we can't listen to all of it, breaking down the FTX matter last night.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me this evening as I offer a national statement on behalf of the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas on the current situation regarding FTX Digital Markets Limited. As Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, I wish to start by asserting one of the most fundamental principles of our jurisdiction. The Bahamas is a place of laws. The rule of law and the exercise of due process characterize the integrity of our jurisdiction. As the third oldest democracy in the Western Hemisphere, our legal, regulatory, and financial sectors have stood the test of time. Tonight, while I speak on behalf of the government, it is in fact the Securities Commission of the Bahamas which is the lead actor in respect of the present situation, as they are the statutory regulator of companies like FTX Digital Markets, who operate in the digital asset space. To date, the Securities Commission has issued two significant statements concerning the provisional liquidation proceedings involving FTX and other related matters. I encourage you all to read those statements for yourselves, as they are definitive accounts of the known facts and the application of the relevant laws and regulatory regime in relation to FTX. These statements should also be read in conjunction with the communication made to the House of Assembly by Prime Minister Davis on November 22nd, also concerning FTX Digital Markets. While cryptocurrency and digital assets are part of a new and complex industry, on a basic level, recent events involving the insolvency crisis experienced by the FTX group of companies have been experienced around the world in practically every sector. To that extent, what happened can more readily be understood as a case of a very large business failure as a result of questionable internal management practices and corporate governance. Given how quickly things have moved, it's hard to believe that it was only 25 days ago, on November 2nd, that an article first appeared on the news site CoinDesk with the details of a leaked financial statement of Alameda Research, a trading company also founded by Sam Bankman-Fried. I want to pause here to emphasize that among the over 100 companies located in dozens of jurisdictions around the world, FTX Digital Markets is the only entity regulated in the Bahamas. Alameda Research is not regulated in the Bahamas. To the extent Alameda Research is found to have committed any improprieties in the Bahamas, then of course it will be subject to our jurisdiction. The balance sheet of Alameda Research, CoinDesk reported at the time, revealed that a large portion of their assets were held in FTT. This is a token issued by an FTX entity that granted token holders a discount on trading fees on their exchange. 4 days later, on November 6, Binance, a crypto exchange that is a major rival to FTX, announced that it was selling off all its substantial holdings in this same FTT token. This announcement prompted a large number of FTX investors to withdraw hundreds of millions of dollars in digital assets from FTX, causing a liquidity crunch. In short, FTX was experiencing the equivalent of a run on the bank when customers all rush in to withdraw all of their assets simultaneously. 2 days later, on November 8th, it was reported that Binance had entered a non-binding agreement to buy FTX. However, the very next day, on November 9th, Binance pulled out of the deal. And it was only 1 day following this, on November 10th, in 2022, the Securities Commission of the Bahamas announced that it had taken action to freeze the assets of FTX Digital Markets, had suspended the registration of FTX Digital Markets as a licensee under the Digital Assets and Registered Exchange Act, also known as the DARE Act, and applied to the Supreme Court of the Bahamas pursuant to its regulatory authority under the DARE Act to place the company in provisional liquidation. The speed of which the Securities Commission was able to move was remarkable by any standard. Over the course of 8 days, market confidence was lost in a company which at one point had a $32 billion valuation. The Securities Commission deserves the highest praise for moving so swiftly and decisively to suspend FTX Digital Markets license and appoint the provisional liquidators. In addition, the Securities Commission recognized that given the nature of digital assets and the risks associated with hacking and compromise, placing FTX Digital Markets in provisional liquidation was not sufficient to protect the customers and creditors of the company. Therefore, pursuant to their authority under the DARE Act and pursuant to an order of the Supreme Court of the Bahamas, the Securities Commission secured the assets of FTX Digital Markets to be held on behalf of and for the benefit and restitution of clients and creditors of FTX. The Commission was the first regulator in the world to take significant steps with respect to the FTX group of companies, which has operations and regulated activities throughout the world. This was done for the purpose of protecting the interests of FTX customers and creditors, as well as the integrity of the Bahamian financial services industry. The Securities Commission was able to move so quickly because of the strength of the legislative framework which was already in place in the Bahamas to regulate digital asset companies like FTX Digital Markets. No other jurisdiction in the world moved or could have moved this quickly in circumstances such as these. It is important for me to share this summary of what took place because over the last few weeks, the basic facts have been obscured by guessing games and rumors. We understand the enormous interest in this story, but as a government, we decided right away that what was most important was not to engage with speculation or gossip, but instead to proceed methodically and deliberately in accordance with the exercise of due process and the rule of law. As we have stated, we are in the early stages of an active, ongoing investigation.
All right, we're going to stop there and kind of break down what Ryan Pinder is saying there. And he gave a good history of where FTX was and how it came to be in this position it's in. So important things that he pointed out there were that there is wide speculation on a lot of things about the company. Some things have come out in court documents. A lot of things are still to come out. So it's still a bit of a wait and see game. Everybody seems to just really be wanting to hear that Sam Bankman-Fried got locked up. And that might be to come. As we reported, the U.S. senators are calling for the Department of Justice to do a deep dive into what happened with FTX. Again, the company that, as Mr. Pinder noted, the company that was at the center of the collapse, one of Sam Bankman-Fried's other companies, Alameda Research, is based in the U.S. and not based here. There are lots of questions that are still to be answered, and I'm sure those are being found out through the investigations being done by the provisional liquidators as well as the Securities Commission of the Bahamas. Can you imagine all of the computers that were in? If you've not ever been in FTX's office, which I have on several occasions, they got mad computers in there, like people using 3 screens and 4 screens to do their work. So I imagine the amount of information they have to go and get off of servers and computers is very vast, and then trying to figure it all out to paint, an exact picture of what went down with FTX, what the relationship was with Alameda Research, how he orchestrated the sale of FTX's token, FTT. Was it in line with the things in the DARE Act? All of this still has to be figured out, I'm sure. I know for certain that the provisional liquidators are not 100% experts in cryptocurrency. I'm sure that the new CEO of FTX US is not 100% an expert in cryptocurrency, and they have to, I'm sure, break this whole thing down so that they can wrap their heads around it. And I am almost 100% certain that the Securities Commission of the Bahamas got to wrap their head around it too, because as it was said in the address by our Attorney General, this thing is new in the sense of a product for financial services, and we decided to take it on as a jurisdiction. So there's still more to come. I think we'll listen to more of it in Morning Blend Business and see what else Ryan Pinder had to say. Let's read some of your text messages. So far, this person says, if SBF did not infringe the DARE law, I'm not sure where you got that from, then he can't be held accountable, or else he would have been in jail by now. That's not necessarily true. Like I said, there's a lot of investigating to be done in this case. And maybe they, if you're gonna bring a strong case against somebody to lock them up and prosecute them, you got to bring everything one time. So This person says the law did not specify which crypto services FTX could engage in. Well, I don't know what the law says about which services they could engage in, but the things, it has been pointed out already by the Securities Commission that if investor funds were used to do anything else, then that was not regulated. That was not legal. So this person says, Chester, you smart. Please tell me what the F&M wants to hear or the PLP to do, please, about FTX. The F&M brought in the company what they want done to be pleased. Yeah, I'll read some of the F&M statement in a second. Morning Blend, the world have another problem. Bird flu is hurting the farmers all over the USA. They have to close down the chicken farm in Nebraska, Ohio because of this chicken flu. Oh boy. Yeah, that just keep praying that don't come here. But it is affecting how much the cost of eggs and the ability to get chicken. It's a good time to start a chicken farm in the Bahamas. Just a little business tidbit there. Good morning. Other than telegraphing the events of FTX and uttering the PM's position, what new information did AG Pinder give other than his appearance to global audience? Yeah, let's keep it real. It's still unfolding, right? We already know that. Them people still tweeting OPM and SBF with fighting words. So you still rather the government not say anything, right? Is that what it is? I feel like the government is saying what they can say. The prime minister's talk about FTX wasn't really that much, but we're hearing now, what the government thinks of the way things are being done. And they're saying, look, this is not the government of the Bahamas that is in the position to deal with this. The Securities Commission of the Bahamas has oversight of this company, and they are in the midst of doing what they have to do to figure out what happened, right? And we thought that the government should at least have said something earlier on. And yes, I agree, absolutely. And when the Prime Minister got back from his travels, he said something in the House of Assembly. I don't know why it was done in the House, but, we are kind of still waiting as a press corps to talk to all of the relevant parties, and hopefully that comes sooner than later, to ask all of the questions that you guys have, right? And that we have. So we're hoping for that. And they could do that, and they could tell us, well, these are some of the things that we cannot say or we can say. Hopefully the Securities Commission will be able to speak soon. As we've been told several times, the Securities Commission does not make it a point to go all public about companies that they have to investigate or shut down. They put out the statements they put out and are very thoughtful about the things that they put out about these companies. So this person says, man, that's not a national address. Ryan outright rolled them out. Roll them out. Roll out the people. This person says a lot. Okay, number one, I don't want to know what happened since November 2022. Okay, I wanted to know. I want to know how FTX got registered in November 2021 without a board, and how they continued under the Securities Commission of the Bahamas regulation without one board meeting. Number two, can we talk about where this and that registered to make ourselves feel good? Huh? The mess happened in the Bahamas. All the properties bought with client funds happened in the Bahamas. The unsophisticated college kids lived in the Bahamas, including the CEO of Alameda. Sam lives in the Bahamas. Who are we trying to fool? I don't know. Do you know that all of the funds that were used to do to purchase properties came from the clients? We still waiting to find that out too. I mean, moving clients' funds is one thing, but using your profit is something different. I mean, they still had that, didn't they? This person says, what world are we living in? By the time the Securities Commission of the Bahamas acted, FTX had already been hacked and tokens stolen. Okay. His entire speech was retrieved from CoinDesk. What does that mean? And saying Alameda is in the U.S. is pointless. FTX lent Alameda the money. Also, number of computers and monitors have no relevance. CoinDesk did this pasting together of the entire story in 1 week, and they didn't have access to one server, as they had was a financial statement, okay, from Alameda that was leaked. Yeah, okay. Meanwhile, the Securities Commission had the right to demand data for an entire year and was simply clueless. That might be true. This person says, Chester, although I always appreciate when white politicians speak, because they are the only ones who speak eloquently. What? That's absolutely not true. Kindly tell us what new information Ryan Pinder brought besides the summary of known events. A voice, the voice that you all wanted to hear from the government and keep asking for. What is, you really can't please some of you. Anyway, the person says, what makes many so suspicious of FTX is that the same PLP players in the Bahamas situation are involved heavily in FTX, even if the fall of FTX was to expose the continued monopolization of opportunities that comes to our shores, the PLP wheel and deal. I don't trust the PLP government. Okay. That is your right. The person says, what the Attorney General ought to appreciate is that we can't hang our hats on the rule of law when it suits us. We still have not been given the facts on how CLECO was allowed to withdraw significant revenues from its Bahamas location, putting in jeopardy the company seemingly skirting around the processes and procedures. The rule of law should not be a statement for convenience. Listen, all of this is true. All of this is true. You know, I wish we could prevent crime from happening. I wish we could see into the future, see into every nook and cranny of people's dark hearts and see what they're about to do. But that's just not how it works. You know, we got to be realistic about this. I mean, people are very much so criticizing the Securities Commission. Maybe they did some stuff wrong, but maybe there were some things that they just couldn't see. You know, and I can't sit here and tell you that they weren't doing their jobs. And I don't think any of you could either. Anyway, correct caller, I would also like to, what correct caller? I would like to know what the due diligence done before the FTX fiasco. We must do better and stop being so loose when it comes to investors. Yes, and this is why we need to be able to sit down with everybody to find out, you know, how, like, what was done when the company came here, you know, how deep did they dive into the company when they came here. These are the questions that need to be answered, the questions that we want to ask, the questions that you are asking. You know, we still need to ask these questions. And I bet you the press is going to have some kind of access to more, the U.S. press and international press are going to have more access to some of these people here and abroad when it comes to this case than the local press. I could guarantee you that, because a lot of people here will speak to international media before they even answer their phones when a Guardian reporter or a Tribune reporter or what have you is calling. And we've seen it time and time again. Somebody said they hate their own. That's how it feels to us sometimes. This person says, does Sam Bankman-Fried hold residency or citizenship? Do you think that's a question for media? All of it is a question, right? All of it. Let's take this call before we got to go to our first break. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend. Caller, you there? No? All right. Let's go to this break then. And Morning Bell will continue on the other side.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
This is AP News. I'm Rita Foley. It's Cyber Monday, and retailers are hoping you'll keep buying today online. Many travelers returning from their holiday today. Gas is $3.54 a gallon. That's 12 cents cheaper than it was a week ago, but 15 cents higher than it was a year ago, says the AAA. 2 people had to be rescued last night after a small plane smashed into power lines in Gaithersburg, Maryland, north of D.C., knocking out power to thousands in the area. Montgomery County Fire Chief Scott Goldstein.
Both patients have been transported from the scene to local area trauma centers with serious injuries.
He was heard there on WJLA TV. Cause of the crash under investigation. 2 mass shootings in 1 week have leaders around the country talking about gun control. The AP's Jackie Quinn.
On NBC's Meet the Press, Colorado Governor Jared Polis says something needs to be done.
It's about mental health. Of course, it's about gun policy. Of course, it's about anti-LGBTQ rhetoric.
But the Democrat says it can be done without invoking a ban.
Where you need an additional license or background check for some of the most high-powered weapons.
Also on the show, Kentucky Republican Congressman James Comer.
Cities that have the most strict gun laws, like Washington, D.C., Chicago, these are the cities with the highest rate of crimes.
Comer says he'd support legislation aimed at improving mental health access and boosting law enforcement.
China is sticking with its severe zero COVID strategy, though it's easing antivirus rules in some areas after crowds demanded President Xi Jinping resign. There have been protests against controls that confine millions of people to their homes. Ukraine is warning there may be more evacuations from the capital, Kyiv, as the war drags on. This is AP News. Now to World Cup soccer and a protest. The AP's Mimi Montgomery has this.
The U.S. Soccer Federation removes the emblem of the Iranian flag in a sign of protest. The Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram accounts of the U.S. men's team briefly displayed Iran's flag on social media, only bearing its green, white, and red colors, but without the emblem of the Islamic Republic. In a statement, the Federation says it scrubbed the official flag to show support for women in Iran fighting for basic human rights. The Iranian government reacted by accusing America of removing the name of God from their national flag. The move adds yet another political firestorm to this year's World Cup and comes as the U.S. faces Iran in a decisive match on Tuesday. I'm Mimi Montgomery.
The U.S. tie against England in the World Cup drew about 20 million viewers, the third most watched men's soccer game on U.S. television. The match was last Friday. I'm Rita Foley, AP News.
It's time for your Morning Blend Traffic Alert. This segment of Morning Blend brought to you by RBC. Make this Christmas whatever you want it to be with an RBC personal loan. Traffic on Gladstone Road starting to build up. Not close to Fire Trail Road yet, but it's starting to thicken. So you want to get on that road now if you're going to take that route. Of course, the Milo Butler Highway already jam-packed all the way to the Fire Trail Road roundabout. and past it, Fire Trail Road traffic beginning to build up in the eastbound lane. On Carmichael Road at the intersection of Blue Hill Road, traffic is backed up all the way back to St. Gregory's Anglican Church. You want to get on that road now, though it looks like it's moving a bit, but the traffic is building on Blue Hill Road northbound to the roundabout. Traffic building on Independence Drive, too, in the eastbound lane. On Eastern Road, traffic is backed up way past San Souci Road. All the way back to about Dodge Road. You want to go in on the Eastern Road if you're going to get going this morning. Remember, there is still construction on Village Road, so if you can avoid that area, you want to do that. Traffic building up on Prince Charles to Beatrice Avenue, and it's built up past Fox Hill Road, east of Fox Hill Road. It is getting thick out there. But it looks like it's flowing a bit. You want to get on those roads as soon as possible. Traffic starting to build up by the Saunders Beach roundabout. That can get pretty thick, so you want to get on the road early this morning. We'll have more traffic for you in the 8 o'clock hour. So apply for a loan with RBC at rbc.com/Caribbean/loan, and you don't have to pay until February 2023. And here's your forecast for today and tonight. Your general situation: a weak frontal boundary will trek across the northwest Bahamas today, while high pressure maintains a gentle to moderate breeze over the islands. Beachgoers should be alert for possible rip currents along Atlantic exposed beaches. For the northwest Bahamas, weather partly cloudy to cloudy and warm with isolated showers and thunderstorms along and ahead of the frontal boundary, becoming variably cloudy and mild with isolated showers and a thunderstorm tonight. Small craft should exercise caution in swells. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in showers or thunderstorms. Winds southwest to west at 10 knots or less ahead of the front, becoming northwest to north at 10 knots or less after the front passes. Seas 1 to 3 feet, building to 4 feet in slight northeasterly swells. For the central and southeast Bahamas, weather partly to mostly sunny and hot isolated showers or a thunderstorm over open waters, becoming fair and warm with a quick passing shower tonight. Small craft should exercise caution in swells. Winds east to southeast at 10 knots or less in the central Bahamas, increasing 10 to 15 knots in the southeast Bahamas. Seas 1 to 3 feet in the central islands, building 2 to 4 feet in the southeast Bahamas, with slight swells along Atlantic exposed shores. Your daytime high temperature today, 88 degrees Fahrenheit, 31 degrees Celsius. Your overnight low temperature, 73 degrees Fahrenheit, 23 degrees Celsius. In your extended forecast, the frontal boundary will become stationary and weaken across the northwest Bahamas on Tuesday. A building high pressure will support increasing winds and a moderate surf through Wednesday. We'll have your outlook for the next 2 days in the 8 o'clock hour. That's your weather, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams.
Sherwin-Williams Paints wants to make your holiday a splash jollier. November 21st through December 23rd, come deck your walls with color by stopping into either the Tonique-Williams-Darling Highway or Prince Charles Drive location and take advantage of their Christmas sale of up to 20% off. And when you spend $100 or more, you enter to win prizes like hotel stays, boat excursions, interior designer consultations, and more. So stop on in to win. Sherwin-Williams Bahamas. Find color in every day.
And we'll be back with more Morning Blend after these messages.
It's the most rewarding time of the year. To RBC, get a loan to buy whatever. RBC makes it better. Get a loan and don't pay till New Year.
Make Christmas what you want it to be with a personal loan from RBC. Apply at rbc.com/Caribbean/loan and don't pay till February 2023. Conditions apply.
Get a loan and don't pay till New Year. To RBC.
Breakfast just got better at Wendy's. Introducing the Breakfast Biggie Bag. Enjoy a double sausage muffin with 2 square sausage patties, a freshly cracked egg, and cheese served on a toasted English muffin, a medium waffle fries, and an orange juice for only $5.25, VAT inclusive. Add an apple pie for just $1 more.
Say what?
At Wendy's, better breakfast is all day. Offers valid in participating locations. Wendy's, different inside and out.
Mr. Campbell, we have your test results. Do you want the good news or the bad news first?
Good news. No, wait, bad news. Give it to me straight, doctor.
Your blood work came back. You've got erythrocytes all over.
Oh no, this can't be happening.
Here's the good news. That just means red blood cells. It's a good thing. You're completely fine.
With 99% of medical claims paid in 5 days, we're like a doctor who doesn't want to be a comedian. CG Atlantic, medical in life. Good like that.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
Cheney's Chesapeake Road Christmas Wonderland is open under the Big Tent. Get your Christmas trees in pink, frosted, green, or white in a variety of sizes. Musical Christmas LED and laser lights, a large variety of tree ornaments, lighted angels and Santa tree toppers, bright and lively colored Christmas balls in all sizes, garlands, wreaths, tree skirts, stockings, and lots more. Add flowers, picks, and decorative mesh to brighten up your home or office this holiday season. And don't forget the toys at Cheney's Chesapeake Road. Check our selections online at www.cheney's.com.
Finding more time on your hands lately? Need to start or finish a paint project at home? Well, all 3 Sherwin-Williams paint and art stores are open to serve you. Find and follow them on social media for more info at Sherwin-Williams242 and check out their website at SherwinWilliamsBahamas.com.
Earning 0 interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Best of the best. Man, we up in the Bahamian country. We up in Arcady. We got the best in the Bahamian food. Boat racing all day in the water. Best of the best. 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 Man, bring me a boat.
Ah, well, ain't no more slopping up now. We outside December 1st to the 4th. The best of the best we got on Monarchy Beach. We can find a rooster fastest from Class A, B, C, and E.
Florida Auto Parts can deliver all the auto parts your car will ever need, direct from the USA and from around the world. Florida Auto Parts provides fast delivery on auto parts, and we ship throughout the Bahamas, genuine or aftermarket, new or used, and all for the best price. Call Florida Auto Parts Trusted Parts Rep on WhatsApp at 1-786-772-8777 to save on your next auto parts purchase. Florida Auto Parts, the right parts at the right price.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that.
Good morning and welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. I'm Chester Robards. We are talking about the Attorney General's address last night, which I thought was a good address. Clearly people want a lot more out of the government over this FTX issue. I don't know what else the government can give you. I don't know. I don't know. Let's take some of these calls. I didn't get to any calls before the break, so let's try and squeeze some in. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Hello, morning. How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Man, I just was calling the Raul, Mr. Producer, man. This second half of the week, y'all will be there about on my cell phone. He's going to tell you that it's cell phone.
No,
Huh?
we could see each other. We can't hear each other.
Oh, well, anyway, what I'm trying to figure out, right, is since we became a country of laws, since the 22nd, because we can't even get rid of shanty town. People building illegally in this country. All of a sudden, we're a country of laws, according to the Attorney General.
Mm-hmm.
Man, he need to come a little better than that. And I'm not sure the information that you say when it comes to Alameda is quite correct.
About
if
what part?
If my memory serves me correct, Alameda has a head office right here, a stone's throw away from FTX. They're both here.
Well,
in the Bahamas.
According to the Attorney General.
Huh?
According to the Attorney General, they're not. I mean,
the Attorney General must be misinformed, because even if you Google it, it shows Alameda Group here in the Bahamas, right next to FTX.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure his information is correct, and I'm certain I heard a report in the United States said that Alameda and FTX Group head offices are here in the Bahamas. So you probably would need to research that.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yeah.
And that's basically what I call to say. Check it out again and make sure.
Okay.
All right?
All right. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks.
All right. Let's take this next call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Is that me? Oh, God, lady, is talking away so long with you, Chester.
Yes, good morning.
Hello?
We can hear you.
Okay. We need justice, law, and order in the Bahamas here. But, Chester, if the security of people had done their diligence, the thing is, the company wouldn't have been able to be registered here in the Bahamas. So it seems as though somebody, including the government, was doing some untoward work.
Mm-hmm.
The Security Commission supposed to sanction everything. They're supposed to know they're sanctioning.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And it seems as though they even doesn't have head for the type of computers that are in the company. This is a bunch of filth. We should call it like it is. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, let's try and take this next call. That one's gone. Okay. Read some more of your text messages. This person says, did the AG just read a timeline that has been available on Reddit for weeks now and pretend it's breaking news? Did he mention any potential charges or how this will be avoided in the future, or what this administration is doing legislatively to root out corruption or the appearance of it? No, none of the above. Also, I mean, come on. The man got to start from the beginning. I feel like y'all think that everybody is caught up on this thing. In a national address, you still got to talk to everybody as if they're not sure about this stuff, right? Let's not be... It's a little elitist to think that everybody knows the backstory. You got to catch up. Everybody got to catch up. This person says... the Securities Commission at Bahamas failed. Unfortunately, all you have to understand is this entire fiasco was unraveled by 2 reporters in 1 week with 1 statement. Okay, that's how things happen. Sure. And then they say they can't do anything. I think they're talking about the government. They're too late. And they say all of them are operating from the Bahamas. I think they mean Sam Bankman-Fried's companies. Was Alameda Research licensed in the Bahamas? That's the question. This person says, good morning. I'm always hearing you say, what else we want from the government? What else we want the government to say? As far as I remember, all the time, it was you and the media who kept asking the government to say something, not the majority of Bahamians, because most of us can care less. Wow, gee. Yes. But in this case, right, I don't think the Attorney General, first, I don't think it's his role to do this, but I don't think he's sitting with the provisional liquidators, sitting with the Securities Commission every day, trying to get, I don't even know if that's something he can do, trying to get, to the bottom of all of this himself. But what he said, I think, yesterday is what he could say. I'm not saying that's all I want to hear, because I want to ask questions. I want to sit down with the Securities Commission. I want to sit down with a government official who's responsible for this, whether it's Michael Halkitis or the Attorney General or whomever, and have questions answered. That's still to come. Anyway, we'll talk more about this after the 8 o'clock news.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas. And now at 8:22, it's time for your final look at this morning's weather. That's brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Your public forecast for today and tonight. Your general situation, a weak frontal boundary will trek across the northwest Bahamas today, while high pressure maintains a gentle to moderate breeze over the islands. Beachgoers should be alert for possible rip currents along Atlantic exposed beaches. For the northwest Bahamas, weather partly cloudy to cloudy and warm with isolated showers and thunderstorms along and ahead of the frontal boundary, becoming variably cloudy and mild with isolated showers and a thunderstorm tonight.
Small craft should exercise caution in swells. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in showers or thunderstorms. Winds southwest to west at 10 knots or less ahead of the front, becoming northwest to north at 10 knots or less after the front passes. Seas 1 to 3 feet, building to 4 feet in slight northeasterly swells. For the central and southeast Bahamas, weather partly to mostly sunny and hot with isolated showers or a thunderstorm over open water, becoming fair and warm with a quick passing shower tonight. Small craft should exercise caution in swells. Winds east to southeast at 10 knots or less in the central Bahamas, increasing 10 to 15 knots in the southeast Bahamas. Seas 1 to 3 feet in the central islands, building 2 to 4 feet in the southeast Bahamas, with slight swells along Atlantic exposed shores. Your daytime high temperature today, 88 degrees Fahrenheit, 31 degrees Celsius. Your overnight low temperature, 73 degrees Fahrenheit, 23 degrees Celsius. In your extended forecast, the frontal boundary will become stationary and weaken across the northwest Bahamas on Tuesday. A building high pressure will support increasing winds and a moderate surf through Wednesday. Your forecast for Tuesday, variably cloudy with isolated showers and a thunderstorm in the northwest Bahamas. Partly to mostly sunny, warm and breezy with isolated showers and a thunderstorm in the central and southeast Bahamas. Winds northeast to east at 10 to 15 knots, increasing 15 to 20 knots by evening. Seas 2 to 4 feet, increasing 4 to 6 feet by evening. Small craft caution comes into effect. And your outlook for Wednesday, weather partly to mostly sunny, warm and breezy with a passing shower and a thunderstorm mainly over open waters. Winds northeast to east at 15 to 20 knots, seas 4 to 6 feet. Small craft caution continues. Your tropical weather outlook, tropical cyclone formation is not expected during the next 5 days. That's your weather check brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance, still the first and only local insurance company and agency network that lets you buy car and home insurance 100% online. Try it today at bahamasfirst.com. And time again for your Morning Blend Traffic Alert, brought to you by RBC. Make this Christmas whatever you want it to be with an RBC personal loan. And as expected, traffic has built up a little more on Gladstone Road, still not touching that Fire Trail Road intersection, which is a good thing. But it is pretty thick out there. Traffic on Sir Milo Butler Highway looks like it's starting to move a little bit, but the traffic on Fire Trail Road eastbound is built up. Got some traffic now building up by the Saunders Beach roundabout. Not so bad this morning. It hasn't reached Go Slow Bend. Not even halfway there, so that's pretty good. Looks like the traffic on the Eastern Road has eased up a lot and starting to flow, but cars still moving a bit slowly all the way back to San Souci Road. Bernard Road, some traffic right in the middle, smack dab in the middle of Bernard Road. Might be some school traffic. Prince Charles, really thick and crowded this morning in the westbound lane, all the way over to the mall and all the way back past Elizabeth Estates. You want to be very patient there today. Looks like traffic has improved on Carmichael Road at the intersection of Blue Hill Road. Looking good. It looks like it's flowing. It's also kind of flowing on Blue Hill Road as you approach the intersection there at Independence Drive, the roundabout there. Hopefully that stays that way for you. That's your Morning Blend Traffic Alert. Apply for a loan with RBC at rbc.com/Caribbean/loan and don't pay until February 2023.
rewarding time of the year. To RBC, get a loan to buy whatever. RBC makes it better. Get a loan and don't pay till New Year.
Make Christmas what you want it to be with a personal loan from RBC. Apply at rbc.com/Caribbean/loan and don't pay till February 2023. Conditions apply.
Get a loan and don't pay till New Year. To RBC.
Okay, class, let's begin today's history lesson. Ancient civilization used to visit stadiums to watch musicians perform. It was called a live concert.
Teacher, what year was that?
Researchers believe it was around 2019. Normal life feels like a long time ago. As things return to normal, remember it is essential to be fully immunized against all vaccine-preventable diseases like COVID-19, rubella, polio, hepatitis, mumps, and influenza. This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the Caribbean Development Bank, the Government of Canada, and the United States of America.
The new standard in pharmacy services is here. Welcome to the state-of-the-art Doctors Hospital Pharmacy at The Point, offering all of your personal and healthcare needs at one location, including prescription and over-the-counter medications, convenience and health and beauty aids, remote fulfillment, and same-day delivery. So whether it's a life-saving prescription or a last-minute sunscreen for a day at the beach, it has never been easier to access your medical needs downtown. To place an order, email us at prescriptions@doctorshosp.com or call us at 302-3280. Trusted and best care, now downtown.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem, just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
We're good for you.
Florida Auto Parts can deliver all the auto parts your car will ever need, direct from the USA and from around the world. Florida Auto Parts provides fast delivery on auto parts, and we ship throughout the Bahamas, genuine or aftermarket, new or used, and all for the best price. Call Florida Auto Parts Trusted Parts Rep on WhatsApp at 1-786-772-8777 to save on your next auto parts purchase. Florida Auto Parts, the right parts at the right price.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up.
Welcome back to Morning Blend. Want to remind you, it feels good to do good. This Christmas, let's spread some good together. Share your story of an act of kindness on RBC's Facebook and Instagram pages, and a registered charity of your choice could be selected to receive a donation from RBC. We're continuing our conversation about the national address by the Attorney General yesterday, last night, in fact. And you guys are joining the conversation. Just want to continue with some of these text messages. This person says, yep, I read that. This person says, we continue to appoint the same persons on these boards, not apparently based on qualifications, but political affiliation. And so we get what we get. Well, yep. This person says, Chester, the AG gave misinformation. Alameda Research is registered in the Bahamas. He gave lots of smoke and mirrors, told us lots of what we already know, plenty of nothing, and tried his best to prop up his failing government. Okay. This person says, Chester, good morning. I listened to the responses by these politicians, and I reserve the right to suck my teeth. Yes, you do. All right. Let us look at, there was a lot of chatter on Twitter last night, and this is the reason, partly that Ryan Pinder did what he did. Listen, you're not going to make everybody happy, right? The Attorney General, like I said, I think, kind of said what he could say, right? Again, I do think that everybody needs to be able to start to answer some questions from the media. It's been, I think this is going on 3 weeks. So that's just my thought. But this is the reason that we keep asking for the government to talk, for people to answer questions, because people are just going buck wild on places like Twitter. And they are tagging the office of the Prime Minister in some of these statements. So let me read some of these things that were on Twitter after last night. This person says, since the Bahamas feels like they can just steal money and help SBF FTX, then maybe no one should support them anymore by visiting the Bahamas. These are people on Twitter now. This person says, life savings of 5 million people stolen and nothing happened so far. I was planning to move there. I think they mean the Bahamas. And they tagged OPM, the Bahamas. But I guess I shouldn't even pass nearby. This person says, I've half a mind to gather a legal fund together and sue the Bahamas government. Okay, good luck there, buddy. This person says, patting yourselves on the back at how great your regulations were when you let this fraud and theft occur right under your noses is grotesque. All right, so they don't care about investigations and trying to get to the bottom of things. They just want somebody blood right away. This person says, the lesson to be learned from all this, companies that are based and regulated by Bahamian regulators are not safe and do not offer protection. Saying something... That person is saying something very close to what Sam Bankman-Fried ended up saying to a reporter and tweeting, saying he doesn't think regulators help anybody. If anybody remembers that story from a few days ago. So these people just saying the same thing. This lady says 23-minute long speech in defense of the Bahamas, but no information as to preliminary findings of FTX investigation, a part that's ongoing. I guess she means apart from that's ongoing. This talk is like a campaign promise, does not move the needle. Bahamian government promo, we are nowhere close to as to what happened with FTX. The same lady, is extremely regrettable that AG used a television speech to quarrel with FTX's new CEO in the middle of the investigation while everyone is expecting info. Bahamas reputation control in a government TV commercial without questions answered is not what anyone wanted to hear. Someone says they're laughing. This guy's blaming Binance. This person says, new slogan, bribery works better in the Bahamas. This person says, stop saying FTX suffered a liquidity crisis like a bank run. This was stealing client funds, pure and simple. Well, that person clearly missing what people are saying. Let's take this call. Yeah. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Good morning.
Wait, call back for us, please. Yeah, call back. For which line is that? the 4259 line? I don't know. Wouldn't know. Just try another 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Try one of those ones. This person says it will be interesting to see a mob of foreigners protest outside Albany, and if any of them will get dragged or locked up like we do the locals. There's a guy. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I feel like everybody sees the same thing everyone else sees just because these things get passed around the internet so quickly. But there's some crypto dude who came here, and he's like he's come to find Sam Bankman-Fried, and he like reported that he found his car and all kinds of food. But anyway, he's taking pictures inside Albany, right? Like, how did he get inside Albany? Because, any of us show up at the gate, and we ain't known or know somebody. Maybe this guy's spending money. Maybe he bought a whole hotel accommodations or something inside Albany just to get inside there. But it's weird. This person says the Securities Commission should also make a statement rather than issuing statements. I agree. I do not know why they don't do those kinds of things, and I don't know a case. And trust me, they shut down lots of companies here, and you don't hear about it. They stop a lot of fraud stuff going on. They post statements on their website. Sometimes we catch them and cover them. It's a lot. They do a lot. But they don't really talk about it. They don't come out and say stuff. I mean, we've seen a lot of the executive director recently around the DARE Act. She was speaking at Crypto Bahamas and been talking about it globally. So yeah, hopefully we could hear from them at some point. All right. This person says they simply don't. I wish this person would call, whomever this person is, because they seem to have all the information and all the answers, and I would like to talk to them. But I have to read all this texting stuff. They simply don't get it. Last week, Ryan Pinder announced that the lead sponsor for the regulator's upcoming fintech conference is a crypto firm they have to regulate. Anyone see Groundhog Day approaching? Our leaders simply see no conflict too big to deny good money. So, okay, OKX is the lead sponsor. I don't understand. What's wrong with that? Okay, I mean, all right. This person says, whose fault is it that the people think the Bahamas stole the money? And that's a good question. And that's why we've been calling for people to talk, to say stuff, to make statements and take questions, because we have questions. This person said these guys waited 2 weeks to say anything. The time to speak was November 2021. Okay. This person says, good morning, rude reporter. I love your show. Keep on being rude. This person, nope, let's take this call. How about that? Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm not bad, I guess.
Good.
This question that I don't think I heard the reporters asked yesterday at the press conference, and in regards to the transaction between the FTX and Alameda company. I think it was over $1 billion that was fiat currency that was sent from FTX to Alameda in terms of a loan. And I think that's the transaction that kind of steamrolled this whole downfall of FTX. And I'm wondering, if I want to send $10,000 to the U.S., I would need some kind of permission from the government, right?
To do what?
If I want to send $10,000 or something substantial amount of money
Right.
to the U.S., I would need approval to send that kind of money, right?
Right.
So wouldn't the government have known FTX was sending real currency to Almeida?
I don't know if it was real currency.
Well, if I need permission, wouldn't that company also need permission to send over $1 billion?
One would think.
Huh?
One would think.
Right,
I don't
so-
know the inner workings, but if it's money that was domiciled here in an account,
Well, that's
then
a
I'm
registered
sure-
Bahamian company
Right.
sending money to somewhere else. So whether the money is here or not, that company needs approval to send money somewhere else, right?
One would think.
Right. So I'm saying the government had to have known that that transaction was kind of
I don't know
irregular.
I don't know how the transaction occurred. So I know that they were padding stuff with their own token, and so, to be honest, I don't know how that works. If they were just like using a wallet to send the tokens,
no.
which have
Fiat
no value.
currency, not crypto. Fiat currency was sent.
Okay.
That's the loan that the company in the U.S. got from the Bahamian company.
I don't know how they moved money.
But I'm saying because of that loan, and that company unable to pay back is
Right.
why this whole thing crashed.
Right, but I don't, like I say, I don't personally know how or when or what that transaction was like. And
Right.
again, these are the questions that need to be answered, right?
Right. I'm just saying because
Yeah.
I didn't hear that question.
Wait, but you said nobody asked. When were you talking about?
The press conference yesterday
Yesterday.
with Brian Pinder.
Oh, that wasn't a press conference. That was a recorded statement.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Okay, thanks. So again, like these are some of the things, and I'm sure they're gonna get. Everybody wants answers right now. Everybody, and you could see from the Twitter feed, from the OPM statement last night by Ryan Pinder, that Americans and other people who invested in FTX, I'm sure that's who they are. Some of them, they want blood, right? And there's a process, and we still got to wait for the process. Things could be done. But again, I'm all for the Securities Commission and the government setting up a press conference so that they could say, even if they do it, so that they could say, yeah, we can't answer that right now. It's something we're looking into. Even if the provisional liquidators, say something, however that works, that's what I'm looking forward to. Somebody saying something and taking questions. So this person says, morning, is the carnival coming to Nassau? I hear that the carnival is setting up. So that might be a big yes. This person says, what's wrong with that? Oh, okay, they're talking about the fintech conference that is being put on by the Securities Commission of the Bahamas. Is sponsored by a company that they regulate. And I said, what's wrong with that? And this person says, is exactly what someone said in 2021. It's fine for OKX to sponsor a conference put on by Chester Robards or Bahamar, but it's outside the bounds of ethical standards for them to be the lead sponsor for any event the regulator is seeking financial support for. That is true. When I said what's wrong with that, I didn't even think about it. But you're right, there is a conflict there, right? Or can be seen to be a conflict there. They need to establish some separation with the people they're regulating, especially when it's clear these people running circles around you. They are too cozy. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, that's a good question. It needs to be answered too. Has anyone seen the conflict and connection with the Attorney General who left the last PLP administration to work for Deltec Bank here in the Bahamas, who's facilitated the acquisition of Monsoon Bank in the U.S. to get the federal approval to transfer the real fiat currency to the Bahamas? The rabbit hole is deeper than you think. I don't know. Does he still work for the bank? Boy. If we were trying to avoid conflicts of interest in this country, we wouldn't get anything done because there's a small pool of people doing a lot of things. Maybe that's why we need so many foreigners here, right? This person says there's no way the government or regulator would know of any fraudulent activity because FTX was being dishonest. And I agree with that in part. And I say in part because I don't really know what their process is for gaining information or raising the alarm on certain things. Again, there are people inside the company that should be raising alarms. And I don't know if those people were in place. How can the government be held accountable for that, right? So who knows? Let's take this call that's coming in. Yeah. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Hello.
Hi. Yes. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, it seems like the minister is throwing the regulators under the bus.
Really? He was praising the regulators. In what way?
Well, he says that the government has that it's they who's responsible for it, and the government has no intervention in it.
So I think what he's just saying is the central
separation.
The central government does not
whatever went down is between the regulators and FTX. But what I want to say is that he seems to talk about regulating what you call it the what's going on now, right? But what about the licensing regulation? You talk about regulations and taking away the license. What about the issuance of the license? You have the regulation laws, but not the enforcement of the laws.
What do you mean?
And nobody's talking about the enforcement of the laws, especially that pertains with the exchange, the token exchange. I think that this article was 14 to 18 or something like that. When the infrastructure that's necessary, I feel like it's about. And then he talk about the international communities are saying that people come here to avoid our regulations, but again he only talk about the liquidation regulations when it pertains to that, but not the licensing regulations. Thank you.
No, okay, thanks. Not sure I quite understood what your point was. But yeah, so people are trying to figure out a lot of things when it comes to this story. I don't have all the answers. I'm trying to figure some things out as well. I want the government and I want the Securities Commission. Sam Bankman-Fried seems to be answering questions in certain circles. Maybe we could get him too. A whole press conference, right? The U.S. media has been sitting in on some of the press conferences at the office of the Prime Minister that we've had around here. So trying to figure that out. And the only way to figure that out is for the questions that we all have to be answered in real time with the media. So let's take this final break before we have to end the show and start Morning Blend business.
It's a new day.
Get a merry makeover this Christmas from Scotiabank. Apply for a Scotiaplan loan to win a home renovation. This Christmas, unwrap the celebration. $3,000 for your home, new lamp, new decor, new couch that you
Win
own.
a $3,000 home goods gift card when you apply for a Scotiaplan loan this Christmas. We're giving you the gift of a low interest rate and up to 2 months with no payments. Plan the perfect Christmas with your Scotiaplan loan. Use it for any purpose, plus benefit from flexible payment terms. Apply for a Scotiaplan loan now to enter to win a merry home makeover.
I just link up with this beautiful young lady, and she say she in love with me. She say even my internet making sense. When she come over, she say my signal strong, my movies ain't glitching, and when she use her computer, everything was smooth. The only problem is, I let her meet me by my boy house that day, and he got that BTC fiber internet speed bump.
Current fiber internet bundle customers now have as much as 3 times the speed. Totally free. Link up with BTC.
Link up. Best of the best. Man, we up in the Bahamian country. We up in Arcady. We got the best in the Bahamian food. Boat racing all day in the water. Best of the best. Best of the best. Bring me the best of the best. Bring me the best of the best. Best of the best. Best of the best. Best of the best. Bring me a boat. Ah, well, ain't no more slopping up now. We outside December 1st to the 4th. Best of the best we got on Monaco Beach. You can find a rooster fastest in class A, B, C, and E. Bring your boat.
We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Monday, November 28th. November almost done. I am Chester Robards, still filling in for Dwight Strachan. He is back with you tomorrow. I could just hear the applause coming from some people. We are continuing our conversation about what the Attorney General said last night about FTX. The Prime Minister started this conversation in the House of Assembly, and now we're hearing more from the government by way of the Attorney General in a national address last night. So let's hear a little bit more of that so we could continue to discuss this matter.
Reach of FTX activities are truly global, as they consist of over 100 companies located in dozens of jurisdictions. As with any active inquiry, we seek to share updates in a way that does not compromise or constrain investigators. And tonight, I can underscore that we believe that faith in the Bahamas as a responsible jurisdiction will only be strengthened as events continue to unfold. The digital assets industry is still in its infancy. The emergence of any new industry will inevitably feature ups and downs as innovators attempt to harness new technology to new applications. Since the official launch of Bitcoin in January of 2009, the possibilities that digital assets, smart contracts, distributed ledger technology, and fintech represented piqued interest across the financial and technology worlds. Despite the rapid growth in the industry, by 2018, many jurisdictions had not introduced any legal or regulatory framework that specifically addressed digital assets. There are still no agreed upon standards globally. Regulators around the world are still grappling with the issue of how to regulate digital assets. There are a number of reasons for this, including the complexity of regulating the digital asset space, but most regulators actually lack the broad statutory mandate or the legal scope to provide any regulation or even legal clarity on cryptocurrencies, digital assets, and their related businesses. Digital assets are in use in jurisdictions across the world, in North America, Central and South America, in Europe, Middle East, Asia, Africa, and in the South Pacific. They are being utilized and traded in countries whether there is a regulatory framework in place or not. The Bahamas decided that we needed to actively engage in this sector for two primary reasons. First, to take advantage of the strategic opportunity of this new sector, and second, to protect our existing financial services sector from the risks which unregulated activities connected with cryptocurrency and other digital assets may bring about, such as illicit finance. The Bahamas, with significant expertise in international financial services regulation, decided we would not allow this activity in our jurisdiction without the establishment of a robust legal and regulatory framework, reflective of the best practices observed in the industry and in compliance with recommendations of global standard setters. In 2020, the Bahamas enacted the Digital Asset and Registered Exchanges Act. It remains a pioneering piece of legislation recognized internationally as being innovative and forward-thinking. One example of this, earlier this year, Assistant United States Secretary of State for the Western Hemisphere Affairs, Brian Nichols, noted, and I quote, "The Bahamas has long been an important financial center globally, and it is pioneering responsible cryptocurrency regulation." It is the provisions of the DARE Act which gave the authority to the Securities Commission to act as quickly and decisively as it did in the case of FTX Digital Markets. So how did we get to this moment with FTX Digital Markets? In July of 2021, FTX Digital Markets was incorporated in the Bahamas and applied to be registered as a digital asset business under the DARE Act. In September of 2021, just over 1 year ago, the Securities Commission, after many months of prior engagement, approved FTX Digital Markets license to operate. FTX operated globally for over 2 years prior to coming to the Bahamas, having been headquartered previously in Hong Kong. FTX Digital Markets quickly set about establishing a major presence in the Bahamas, buying properties, hiring and training Bahamian staff, and sponsoring a number of charitable and community ventures. In many ways, this behavior was no different from that which we see from many of our corporate citizens. Meanwhile, in the wider economy, inflation battered countries across the globe, leading to higher interest rates. The invasion of Ukraine added to the volatility of energy prices, and a broad range of technology companies slumped in the stock market and laid off tens of thousands of workers. The international digital assets industry experienced a major downturn as well. As the Prime Minister Davis pointed out in his statement to Parliament, and I quote, "There have been both booms and busts in the world of crypto, and this year has been a significant bust, with total market capitalization falling from $3 trillion to $800 billion or lower. The steep sell-offs and declining volumes have led analysts to describe this time as a crypto winter." In the spring of this year, Terra Luna, a stablecoin system, collapsed, leading eventually to a wave of bankruptcies by crypto lending platforms like Celsius, 3 Hours Capital, and Voyager. For a time, it appeared that FTX would bail out and acquire the assets of some of these distressed companies. But instead, FTX itself could not avoid the cascading failures and faced its own severe insolvency crisis. So I ask, where are we now? As I said at the outset, there is an active and ongoing investigation of the affairs of FTX Digital Markets, involving both civil and criminal authorities. As is provided for under our regulatory framework, we are already working with a number of specialists and experts and will continue to do so as the need arises. There are a number of protective measures which the regulator has taken under the authority conferred by the Supreme Court of the Bahamas. For the time being, we will not set out those measures in any further detail until we are confident that doing so will not jeopardize any aspect of the ongoing investigations. We urge...
Okay, that was more of the address, the national address from Attorney General Ryan Pinder there. And so some things he said in that bit I don't actually agree with. But let's break it down. He talked about the history of the crypto winter, which apparently started last year. And I don't think tying that to FTX's collapse is quite fair because, as we have been hearing, the company just was not run the way it should have been run. And the company did things that they shouldn't have been doing. That's what led to its collapse. Whether or not they would have never been found out or would have been doing better if some of that stuff didn't happen, I think is neither here nor there. Just because they weren't doing things the right way. Right? So... he also mentioned that the government is trying to stay out of the way, which I think is fair enough, right? Like just what happened last night with his address. I mean, everybody's hooked on it. I just saw that my colleagues posted a live, or it was live, talk on CoinDesk, and they were speaking to, this is from their Twitter page, speaking to Bahamas attorney, speaking about what Ryan Pinder said in the national address yesterday. And the president of Time magazine and the Join Moonpay to talk about this. So right, like people are looking at the Bahamas and they're talking about what's going on here, you know, regulatory regime wise and other things, and they want to understand, you know, what this country is doing. We are one of the only countries to have any regulation surrounding cryptocurrency and digital assets, those kinds of things. And now we had to take steps our regulatory body has to take steps in a case where one of those companies that it regulates collapsed. They didn't do some of the right things and they collapsed. And we have to find out, and are trying to find out from the beginning why this happened, how it happened, what steps could have been taken to avoid it. Again, this is not an easy, and I feel like people texting and stuff just think that this is a simple, we took our eyes off of it, this is how they did it. But I don't think it's as simple as some people are putting it, right? Let me read some of the text messages that came in while we were listening. This person says, financial transactions occur in this country daily in the billions. No bank anywhere holds that kind of money. It's all in cyberspace, right? If you had $250,000 on your bank account, you can't get that in cash. Okay, fine. Who was moving cash, though? Because the banks don't keep that kind of cash on hand. Do some research. But who's talking about cash? And nobody said anything about moving a briefcase across borders. This person says, good morning. The government thinks that they... What is all this? Few people are buck wild on this thing. Okay. This person says, but knowing the complexity of FTX ties and the risk of virtual money on the whole, and the financial amount of this company, in addition to having ties to a number of countries, should we have been so hasty in approving this company to do business here? This is all concerned persons are asking. We were a country too hasty, lacking the expertise, obviously. Well, I don't know that we lack the expertise. Could there have been more due diligence? Maybe. This person says, this is the same person, what they say, virtual money on the whole. When you say virtual money, I'm not sure. I feel like cryptocurrency isn't actually virtual money, because there are some cryptocurrencies out there that just don't even make sense. They're just floating in air and people are buying them and trading them for no reason other than they exist. I don't know. Let's take this call. Yes, yeah. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Business. Oh, call us back on a different line. Try another one. The phone line's 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. You can also text us 422-GR96. That's 422-4796. And let's try to take it again. Yeah. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend Business.
Morning, Chester.
Hey, good morning.
6232, the first number.
Yeah.
That has static on your
That's the
wired telephone line, because I called it on a cell and it was still static.
Okay, 6232.
Good, sure.
Thanks. Good.
You know, in 2016, Wayne Johnson, myself, and Lester Cox sat right in that studio. And we said, of course, it's not regulated. And I'm sure that's why in 2020, we passed that legislation. You know, we recommended that we opened our own crypto exchange in the Bahamas at the central bank, being the first in the world, of course. I also snuck in there that we should have been an early adopter of Bitcoin and the whole country gone to Bitcoin, but that was a little bit too radical in 16. Mm-hmm. But El Salvador did it in 21. You see, the fact is, you can go to Miami and work as an El Salvadorian, and you can send $100 home, and it will happen in seconds, and it will cost you 1 to 2 cents instead of hundreds of dollars in fees. And so the president was very smart in El Salvador. I guess he listened to your radio station in 2016. You know, having the best regulation and the early adopter and putting regulations in place, or trying to, in 2020, if we'd had our own crypto exchange run by our Bahamian experts, because they are here. See, Alan calls you all the time. You know, we would have been so far ahead of the rest of the world. How nice would it have been for a Bahamian sending $2,000 or $3,000 to a child in Canada to go to school? That money in less than 30 seconds and paying 5 cents in transaction fee. It would have been a great thing for our citizens. And then we would have had banking 2.0, because that's basically what this whole thing is. You see, Bitcoin is in question most because it's the truly only decentralized coin. And it is so convenient. And we're actually trying to do it. We're trying to regulate the crypto space with a sandy dollar. Get rid of all the paper money, and you'll take money on your phone, sand dollar, and I'll send you, Chester, in seconds some sand dollar. I won't need a cash bank, so all the Canadian banks, I don't know what they're going to do. But when it's highly regulated, traceable, trackable, a lot of transactions don't want to be those things. For instance, if I give my money to a female friend, and that's when you're going to see the U.S. dollar, the paper money go away, the Canadian, Bahamian, all the paper monies go away. Now we only have these digital currencies. So it's coming, right? That's when people are going to want a cryptocurrency. And they say it does a lot of prostitution, gun buying, drugs, and illegal, illicit stuff. Well, no one has done more of that than the U.S. dollar. Agree? So we've not had the frank discussion. I think you should, Chester, you should do the forum. We should invite everybody who wants to speak to it, because nobody is an expert. This thing just started in 2009.
Yeah.
So Swiss banks have been around for hundreds of years. So don't come with talking to experts. Now, my cousin Ryan Pinder, I got to give a plug for him. He sounded so CEO last night. You agree?
Absolutely.
I was shocked. I got to call him. But we should be the expert globally. We were, number 3 in the world in offshore banking? And so we should be the first to jump ahead of this, and I think we just did.
Yeah.
If a big hotel on Paradise Island closes, whose fault is that? Is it the Prime Minister's fault? No, they mismanaged their business, correct? And so now there was one, Fannie and Freddie. They misled the U.S. government, and that's Standard & Poor's. I don't know if they paid their fine. But we should be the leaders in this space, Chester, and we should do a show. You should invite Wayne Johnson, myself, C. Allen, and Lester Cox on one morning to discuss what we spoke of in 2016. We wanted to avoid and get ahead of what has happened here. Don't let a foreigner come do something in your own country that you could do better yourself. I could let someone come do fishing in the Bahamas? No.
Yeah.
I could set up the fishery. Have a good one.
You too. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Again, we are even more under a microscope. I was sent an article just now with the headline, Bahamas Attorney General gets defensive as FTX users wonder about Sam Bankman-Fried. Okay. Very interesting. Let me read some more of your text messages before we get to go to the morning business report. This person says, do you realize that although the act was passed, there were no regulations? I don't understand what you're asking. Okay. I'm sorry, but I think the world has already made its decision on what they think about the Bahamas. Totally corrupt from the head to the toe. And Mr. Prime Minister, that is why we're on the blacklist, not because we are black people. Okay? It's amazing how y'all talk show hosts are afraid of people's opinions. What is the point of a show if you don't read people's opinions? We spend money sending these texts. This ain't personal. We need to boycott these shows that don't read people's texts. Because what you sent the first time, didn't I read those? What you sent the first time was absolutely crazy. There's no need for that kind of thing. This person says Chester Kwesi needs to condemn Pintard, I think they're trying to say, the whole word missing, for going to the Prime Minister office to try maliciously implicate the government and FTX, which he knows FTX came here when he was Junior Minister of Junior Minister of Finance. Chester, Google, Deltec Bank, and Tether stablecoin, and the FTX, the Fed is investigating the link between them. The Fed, okay. This person says, is there any truth to the rumor that the Sovereign Wealth Fund was or is tied up in FTX as well? No. Are any local reporters following that lead? Or we could wait for Uncle Sam citizens to expose? I don't think they could tie up the Sovereign Wealth Fund in FTX. That is... No, I don't think that's a real thing. And if it is, I don't think it's a real thing. Anyway, Chester, I don't trust them. I don't trust my New Day government. The truth is not in them. They believe you're a stupid tester. They believe you're a stupid tester. Do they mean Chester? I don't know. It's still about friends and family and lovers. They all about enriching themselves. Okay, thanks for that contribution. This person says, I don't understand the urgent necessity of the government to damage control this, and I wonder if the Securities Commission could unearth just one transfer of customer funds or substitution of tokens to Alameda. Wouldn't that demand SBF be arrested and charged? One would think. This person says, great show as usual, Chester. Would you tell that texter with all due respect, get a life? Okay, which texter? Anyway. Do you realize that how can the local media is not talking about the major conflict of interest with a board member and the liquidators? Mr. Pinder did not speak to this either. Again, questions that need to be answered. And if it is considered a conflict of interest. So we'll see. Let's take this call before we gotta go to the break, yeah? Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend. Business.
Good morning, Mr. Chester. Robert, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you? Good morning.
I'm doing good, thank you. Just 2, possibly 3 questions for you, sir, as a reporter.
Mm-hmm.
Did the Attorney General, Mr. Pinder, say that the FTX was incorporated in 2021 and got their license from the Securities Commission in 2021?
In 2021, yes.
He said it was the same year.
Right, yeah.
As a reporter, do you have proof that FTX actually was granted a license by the Bahamas Securities Commission, sir?
Do I have proof?
Do you have proof in the actual document, or are you just
going
by, as a reporter,
I don't have a document,
by what they tell you, the authorities, including Securities Commission of the Bahamas?
I don't have a document. Are you saying the Securities Commission of the Bahamas was regulating a company that they never gave a license to?
They may not have been registered nor licensed, sir. I am asking you to please investigate this. Okay, let me give you an example. I'm looking at their website. They took it down. I think they changed it to November. But it states the Register of Digital Assets Businesses, a list of the businesses, which is just a few, I believe. And it has on here what I would have saved, registration information provided as at, then they have a colon, the 30th of September, 2022, and then it states the FTX Digital Markets. I would have called and spoken to a gentleman there at the Securities Commission, asking him to please verify that FTX was actually registered and licensed with them. He said he could not give me that information. I would have to email them. However, to date, I have yet to get a response asking for the actual document and the verification, sir, that they were actually registered and licensed in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Are you able, sir, to please investigate this to ensure that this was done?
Yeah,
because apparently it was not. I do thank you, sir, for the much information. Very informative show. Have a great day, sir.
You as well.
Thank you, sir.
So the Securities Commission of the Bahamas has a list of everybody registered under the DARE Act. If you go on their website, you will see where they post it. And FTX Digital Markets was there, and it did say that their license is not current because it was pulled by the Securities Commission of the Bahamas. Outside of that, was there something hanging in their offices? I don't remember when I went in there. Maybe there was. All right, let's take this break for the morning business report, and we will be back after.
Ready to save? You can
put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit cfal.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
It's been 35 years since Custom Computers was founded, and we'd like to celebrate that milestone by thanking you, our clients and customers. You've inspired 35 years of expert service and support, partnering with the world's leading brands like HP, Apple, and Microsoft. We take pride in setting the bar for what you expect and deserve from a homegrown Bahamian business. We're here to serve you when you need us, so call 396-1101. Custom Computers, raising the standard since 1987.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem, just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
And it's time for your morning business report, brought to you by CFAL. Yacht horns blared as the Hurricane Hole Super Yacht Marina was officially opened on Friday. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism and Investments and Aviation Chester Cooper said during his speech to commemorate the official opening that the investment by Sterling Global Financial in a new marina for Paradise Island is a shot in the arm. He says, quote, "This is a great day for Paradise Island. It's a breath of fresh air, and it's a facelift for Paradise Island. These are exciting times for Nassau Paradise Island. These are exciting times for investment. In our first year in office, we have approved more than $6 billion of investments for the Bahamas, and this, of course, is an exciting day for Sterling." Cooper praised Sterling for continuing to develop the $250 million property, which includes restaurants, retail, offices, and living space through the pandemic. And FTX allegedly approached local banks to invest on the cryptocurrency exchange FTX, reportedly asked local banks to put their money in the exchange for a respectable return, a Wall Street Journal article explained. The article explained that the banks turned down the offer. The article did not name a specific bank, but said the Wall Street Journal spoke to a partner at one of the banks that turned down the offer. They say, quote, effectively, they were looking for funding, the banker said in the article. The Wall Street Journal article added, starting late last year, FTX started calling Bahamian banks with an unusual offer: deposit your cash in FTX's crypto lending platform in exchange for interest of as much as 12%, according to bankers. Chief Executive Officer of Fidelity Bank, Gowan Bo, told Guardian Business that a deal like the one being offered by FTX would have been a non-starter for many local commercial banks. FTX collapsed on itself after facing a liquidity crunch connected to its own coin 2 weeks ago. A commercial bank manages liquidity, says Bo, but with low risk, and crypto, even stablecoins, doesn't fit that profile. And tourism numbers are ahead of 2019 levels across the next 3 months. Forward bookings for the country for the next 3 months are 16% ahead of 2019 levels, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation said Friday. Chester Cooper said Friday. Cooper said the Ministry of Tourism, Investments and Aviation has been working hard to improve visitor numbers to the country. He says, quote, "These are exciting times for tourism, and we know that our bookings for the next 3 months are 16% ahead of where they were in 2019. And that didn't happen by chance. We had a great brand. We have a great brand called the Islands of the Bahamas. We have a great team called Team Tourism, and we have a phenomenal strategy to take the Bahamas to the world." And a luxury cryptocurrency community that AGI International Limited intends to build on the site where convicted con man Billy McFarlane intended to hold his infamous Fire Festival hasn't gotten all of the approvals needed to move ahead, as suggested by a BusinessWire.com article. Guardian Business understands. This paper also understands that the government plans to release a statement on the matter. Last week, BusinessWire.com reported that AGIA International Limited intends to build a luxury cryptocurrency community on Exuma at the site where the Fire Festival was to be held. The community will create 125 long-term hospitality jobs and 150 construction jobs, according to the BusinessWire.com article. The article said the project has been given the go-ahead by the Bahamas Investment Authority and is in line with Prime Minister Philip Davis's crypto hub vision for the Bahamas. AGIA said in the article that it plans to sell 60 ultra-luxurious pavilions and villas through a series of upcoming non-fungible token mints on the Ethereum blockchain. And in business news abroad, Russian energy giant says there are no further gas cuts to Moldova. Russian energy giant Gazprom announced Monday that it will not further reduce natural gas to Moldova, as it had threatened to do after claiming that bills went unpaid and that flows crossing through Ukraine were not making it to Moldova. Gazprom tweeted that Moldova Gas has eliminated the violation of payment for November supplies and that funds for the gas deposited on the territory of Ukraine intended for consumers in Moldova have been received. Last week, Moldova and Ukraine hit back at Gazprom's claim that Russian gas moving through the last pipeline to Western Europe was being stored in Ukraine, saying all supplies that Russia sends through the war-torn country get fully transferred to Moldova. And that's your morning business report, brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. And welcome back to Morning Blend Business. I'm Chester Robards. We're talking about what the Attorney General Ryan Pinder said in his address last night. And just want to take a look at the opposition's response to that address. So let's read some of this. It's from Shadow Minister for Finance and Member of Parliament for East Grand Bahama, Kwesi Thompson. He says the opposition is saddened that the Prime Minister has again missed an opportunity to address the Bahamas and the world on such an important issue for the Bahamas. The opposition welcomes the comprehensive statement by Attorney General Ryan Pinder. We agree with the Attorney General that the F&M administration positioned the Bahamas as a world leader in fintech financial services through the passage of the Digital Assets and Registered Exchanges Act, DARE Act. Doesn't seem like you got that right on there. The legislation is innovative, bold, and progressive. In 2020, the Bahamas was successful in being one of the first in the world to provide a regime which was intended to attract the best in the world in this fast-moving new industry. The industry provides new well-paying employment opportunities never seen before and new wealth opportunities for every Bahamian to become an owner in this industry. We are saddened that the PLP government has squandered opportunity after opportunity. The approval to operate as a digital exchange and the fall of FTX was on their watch. Okay. Despite what the Attorney General says, many in the international community are using the fall of FTX to attack the good reputation of the Bahamas as a well-regulated financial services jurisdiction. We are dismayed that it took this long for a comprehensive statement to be made. Even the S&P in their most recent report on the Bahamas stated, quote, the Bahamas has a sizable financial sector. The local economy benefited from the activities of a digital exchange over the past year. But the sector may face setbacks as FTX, a digital asset exchange headquartered in the Bahamas, recently filed for bankruptcy. They say the PLP government's silence, particularly in the international press, has already caused irreparable damage. We agree that the Attorney General that comments on this matter must always be responsible. The leader of the opposition and all members of the opposition have always spoken in the best interest of the country. This is precisely why I make these comments. The Bahamas' reputation is under attack. We are a well-regulated and experienced jurisdiction with the best talent in the world, and in the interest of our country, we must act to protect our industry. I repeat my statements made in the House of Assembly. We are not saying enough to protect our industry. If we say we are leaders, then we should lead. Our leader warned that by leaving a vacuum, our competitors and enemies of our country would fill it with their narrative. Where is the communication strategy? One statement is not enough. Have we engaged an international PR firm? Why hasn't the government met with the opposition and, more importantly, met with industry to manage the international message in a non-partisan way? The government must do more to protect our international reputation and the position as an industry world leaders left in place. The government must do more to protect our international reputation and the position as industry world leaders left in place by the F&M. Something might be wrong with that last sentence. Okay, let's take this call and then we'll look at what Kwesi Thompson is saying. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
First comment on the lady who called about the registration of FTX. She thinks that the Securities Commission put a blank piece of paper in the Supreme Court to get liquidation order.
That absolutely seems to be what she thinks.
You know, she thinks they just put a blank piece of paper in our Supreme Court. You know, it's unfortunate some of our people believe that we have a lot of incompetent people in the Bahamas. You know, and that's sad. That's sad because I know a lot of persons who work in the financial services industry, accountants, lawyers, and they're highly competent. And they used to work, some of them used to work all over the globe, you know. Yeah. And we, a lot of our people just, everything seems to be a negative for our country. If other people talking bad about our country, that's their business. We cannot stop them, you know. Don't give a kind of PR firm you hire and how much money you spend on PR. People can talk bad about the Bahamas, because we always being talked bad about, especially when it comes to the financial services. Because we always getting blacklisted. Every time we go change laws, but they tell us change, a couple months later, they blacklist us again because they want us to do something else.
And what's hurtful is these people want us to go spend that money on a PR firm and foreigners.
Yeah, you know the kind of way? It just makes me laugh. You know, if there's so much persons out there now, the way how the world communicates, you can't keep up with everything everybody's saying because of the internet and people access to this new form of communication in the blink of an eye.
Yep.
You can't keep up with them. If you chase behind every story somebody write about the Bahamas, you can't hire sufficient people to do that.
Yeah.
You know, and as far as this FTX and it making the Bahamas look bad because it happened on this government watch or that government watch, companies just go bankrupt every day in the Bahamas and the rest of the world. If we keep feeling that, oh, because this particular government, what did the government actually do to cause FTX to file for bankruptcy? What did they actually do?
Exactly.
Did they do, could somebody point to a specific thing that the Securities Commission did that caused FTX to go a belly up? The man who was in charge of it, he been doing some confessions on Twitter and things, that he's sorry for certain things that he did, the cost of the situation. He taking responsibility for it indirectly, what happened to FTX. The government of Bahamas and the Securities Commission, they didn't know what the people them was doing. And see, we got to stop making it seem like the Securities Commission is one of these people transactions every single second of the day. That is not how regulators work. In the United States, where they have the SEC, they have companies and things go bankrupt, fraud, and all that kind of stuff is happening on a daily basis in the United States with big companies. Enron was a good example. Bernie Madoff was a good example.
Lehman Brothers,
okay? The lady who they just sentenced to 11 years for her health medical thing was supposed to predict your health and all that kind of stuff. And she frauded people out of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars.
Miss Cleo.
With these same SEC and all these people, regulators and stuff like that. I mean, we got to do better, man. We got to, things has happened. This ain't the end of the world for us. We've been on this road before. And as long as we exist, we have people who come and shice us because everybody like to chase after the shiny objects. Not just in the Bahamas. How much people get swing out of this FTX all around the world? You see? And the lady, I know she's trying to prove some type of point, but you got to give our people some credit, man. You know? You put a blank piece of paper in front of the Supreme Court to say, wind up a company that ain't registered in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
Just put a blank piece of paper.
Yeah.
You know, we got to be more intelligent in that, man.
Definitely.
But good show.
I appreciate your contribution, man.
Yeah, we'll keep it a good work.
Thanks. That reminded me, her call reminded me of anyone watched the Shawshank Redemption. When he realized that what's his name had escaped, and he pulled and he took the chess piece, and he said it's a conspiracy and you're all in on it, and he threw it through the wall. He's like, oh, okay. That's kind of like what this is about, right? Like this guy, Shawshank Redemption is a good kind of scenario like this FTX thing, if you think about it. I'm gonna write my thoughts on that somewhere. So this F&M press statement on this thing, I don't know if I agree with a lot of things in here. Let's see, the second paragraph. The legislation is innovative, bold, and progressive. In 2020, the Bahamas was successful in being one of the first in the world to provide a regime that was intent to attract the best in the world in this fast-moving industry. The industry provides well-paying employment. Oh, it's not that one. Oh, it says, okay, the third paragraph. We are saddened that the PLP has squandered opportunity after opportunity. I don't know what he's talking about. The approval to operate as a digital exchange and the fall of FTX was on their watch. Okay, I don't understand why you're saying that. Despite what the Attorney General says, many in the international community are using the fall of FTX to attack the good reputation of the Bahamas as a well-regulated financial services jurisdiction. Right. I feel like you're saying two things that are competing against each other. the approval to operate as a digital exchange and the fall of FTX was on their watch. The approval was on their watch, so you're saying there was a problem with the approval process. Then you're saying that we have a well-regulated financial services jurisdiction. Those two things don't go together. Either there was a problem with the approval of FTX, and its fall points to the fact that we possibly don't have a well-regulated financial services jurisdiction. That I don't think those two things can live in the same paragraph. That's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. Again, I'm not saying that the Securities Commission is completely not at fault here, or has nothing. I'm not saying that there's nothing that the Securities Commission could have done better to ensure that FTX came in and was squeaky clean. There may have been some stuff that could have been done. I don't know. But and I'm hoping again that we can get some answers, ask some questions to get these answers, right? Mr. President says central bank digital currency is only an initiative for control and monitoring the Okay, no. Hey, Chester, do you know which Bahamian attorney lawyer who is serving as ambassador is suing the Bahamas government? I saw somebody talking about that. I don't know. This person, yes, governance is continuous, but the New Day government has a bunch of political hogs who's all about power. We want to know how much. Okay, I don't know. We've been asking those questions. Competent people can overlook things. We going round and round the mulberry bush trying to explain why we didn't miss the ball when it's clear as day we missed the ball. A specific thing that the SCB did not do. At minimum, they should have demanded a board for registration. The guy who wound up Enron says faulty regulator controls abroad. Okay. Thompson is right. It was the PLP to ensure the approval process of the digital exchange was up to this government. The PLP? Do you mean that every government, any company that wants to set up shop here? I know there's Bahamas Investment Authority stuff, and I've asked this question, and nobody's answered me yet. But did FTX have to go through the Bahamas Investment Authority to set up shop here? If that's the case, then yes, the government would have been involved in saying yes or no. But the government's not involved in every company that wants to set up shop here. That would be ridiculous. That would be terrible. As long as certain rules are followed, the technocrats in some of these ministries and companies, they just say, hey, yeah, this company's coming here. They're doing this and that. If they need central bank approval, if they need Securities Commission approval, then those things are done. And this never has to see a politician's desk. I don't know if that was the case for FTX. And FTX, there's a lot of politics involved in FTX. There's no doubt there, right? Just reading some more of these text messages. It's not the government's fault what happened to FTX. However, when the Prime Minister gets on TV trying to score political points with the CEO promoting FTX, it becomes fair politics. Like I said, politics, and Ryan Pinder stated this. He said, this happens with many companies that come here, and yes, it is. They opened the Super Yacht Marina Friday night over there in Hurricane Hole, and there was a whole government party there. Prime Minister was there speaking. The Deputy Prime Minister was there speaking. This is what they do. Big companies want the support of the government. The government wants big companies to treat them like they do. The president says this past government started this process. The present government was there for the PR. This is not a crypto issue. This is a regulatory issue. with the amount of financial injection. We should have made sure that proper KYC and ongoing monitoring was done. Mistakes were made, that's done, but we are in a post-mortem and need to make sure that this does not have too much avoidable impact on our sovereign rating. Also, that volume of land purchased by a foreign entity should have been public and limited. This is not the Bahamas for sale. Okay. Person says the photo op said different, that it was a big deal with the government. Yeah. Again, just are ready for the descendants of the UBP to get in power because these current politicians joking. Wow. I don't know if you want that. Oh man, we have run out of time. Again, look, if you've gotten this press statement from the FNM, look at it. I don't agree with everything in it. We are dismayed that it took this long for a comprehensive statement to be made. Yes, I agree with that. The S&P, I don't know why we're talking about the S&P. The PLP government's silence, particularly in the international press, has already caused irreparable damage. I don't know about that. We agree that the Attorney General, that comments on this matter must always be responsible. But you're asking for so much more than they could possibly give, though. The leader of the opposition and all members of the opposition have always spoken in the best interest of the country. Bahamas' reputation is under attack. Yes. He says, we are a well-regulated and experienced jurisdiction with the best talent in the world, and in the interests, we must protect our industry. So maybe he's talking about financial services in terms of the best talent, because clearly he don't think that public relations companies got the best talent if we need to go engage an international PR firm. Anyway. C'est la vie. My friends, my Bahamians, I have appreciated the last 2 weeks and your engagement and your love and support. I pray all of you have a great day, a great holiday season coming up. Dwight is back tomorrow, and I guess I'm back on Wednesday. I should take a vacation on Wednesday. You guys have a great day. I'm going to continue to be working, so, stay locked to the business section of the Nassau Guardian. We're going to keep on these issues for you. And have a great day. On the Clock with Aaron Green is up next. That's me. God bless. Treat each other great today. Treat each other how you want to be treated. Just think about that before you start talking and acting. Have a great day. I'll see you on Wednesday.
It's a new day. Wake up.